Squash fritters, maple aioli, take one. Yes. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm still out of Heartland Elk Ranch here in Ballantyne, Nebraska. It's a beautiful cold day. The wind's whipping, the snows continue to trickle in. One of my favorite things to do is to cook over open flame with hard wood. I also love to fry things, so we're gonna do a spaghetti squash fritter, fried in cast iron over open flame with a maple syrup aioli. So I feel like oftentimes when we roast spaghetti squash, we can do it in the oven. People will split these open and wrap it in foil and all the things. What I'm gonna do with this baby today is I'm just gonna take it as is, completely raw, no seasonings, no oil, and I'm gonna stick this right in the coals. The key to this is just really keeping a close eye on it and rotating it, throughout the cooking process. So essentially what it's gonna do is it's gonna get completely black on the outside, totally charred, but it's still gonna be this like soft, molten, delicious interior. While that is on the flame, I'll start to kind of get the rest of the batter and the aioli together. First things first is I wouldn't feel like a squash fritter was a squash fritter without a little bit of bacon in it. It's just like that robust smokiness. It's also gonna pair well with the maple syrup aioli. So I just have this thick slab cut bacon. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some lardons out of it, like so. Carbon steel pan heating up on the coals right now. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add this to that. I'm gonna render the bacon slowly until it's crispy. Once it's crispy, I'm gonna go ahead and add this leek to it and kind of create this almost like succotash. So my squash is off the coals. You can see it's just completely charred on the outside. It's even started to split open a little bit. But as we bust into this thing, nice and hot. That skin, that outer shell, just kind of peels right off. You can see all this perfectly cooked, molten spaghetti squash. What I want to do is I just want to scrape it from the skin here. I'm just going to kind of remove it, leaving as much as that charred as we can. It just lifts right out. Once it's cooked like that, it just is. All right, so we have our pulled squash. Do a quick dice of this jalapeno. In the bowl it goes. Nice healthy pinch of salt. I'll crack one egg. See how that feels. It might need two. Okay, we're gonna stir that in. See how wet it is. I'm gonna leave it as one for now. I have some fresh ricotta cheese. I'll go in with that. And it's okay if the ricotta is not completely incorporated, so that you get these ricotta bites when you bite into the fried fritter. I'll put a splash of maple syrup in, lemon zest. Put my kale right on the fire. All right, so the kale's off the barbecue here. You can see it's totally charred and crispy. It's almost dried and flaky. The trick to this is really just putting it right on the coals so that it gets that really robust, rich, charred flavor. Really what you can do is you just take the back of a knife or the front of it, just kind of start knocking it off the stem here. What this does is I cook so often with fresh herbs, fresh chives, fresh parsley, cilantro. For this recipe, to me, this really takes care of that. You still get a little bit of brightness from the green, from the kale, but it's really that richness, that charred, roasted flavor we're going for. Go ahead and go in with the leeks and bacon. Okay, we're gonna stir to combine here. The more you stir, the more that kale's gonna break up. It takes on almost this powdered form. It looks almost like fish flakes. It really seasons the whole batter. Okay, last ingredient, flour to combine. Just kind of dust it in here. Start with a few tablespoons. Add more as you need it. A little more flour. The key to really making this work You need egg as a binder. You need the ricotta for the flavor because it makes this creamy, succulent texture bites. Then you need the flour because that's really your browning agent. So in order for you to be able to tell if your batter is ready, you need it to be sticky so that you can mold it into whatever size, shape you want. But it can't be so sticky because you don't want too much flour, or then it almost becomes like a savory cookie or, you know, like bread. You really just want the flour as the binder to keep all of your ingredients together. All the textures are there, but the batter is still wet but dry enough that it holds its own shape. I like to scoop with a spoon or with my hands directly from my batter bowl into my fryer. I like to have a second mixing bowl next to this. In it, I'll have a little bit of fresh citrus zest, salt, fresh cracked black pepper, chopped parsley. Fritters come out of the fryer directly in that bowl. I'm gonna toss it all together and then we'll take them to the plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set this aside. I'm gonna make my aioli. My oil is heating up on the wood fire right now. All right, maple syrup aioli. I think that this is the perfect condiment for these fritters. They've got the smokiness from the wood fire. They've got the smokiness from the bacon. So I think a little bit of sweet is great. And I think aioli is my absolute favorite go-to sauce for most things. I have a garlic aioli staple in my kitchen all of the time. First step, I'm gonna crack 2 eggs. I just want the yolks. Whites you can save for a cocktail or 2, or an egg white omelet. Sorry, that's what you're into. Splash of vinegar. My friend's George Paul vinegar out of Cody, Nebraska. So I've got my eggs, my vinegar, and put in a little maple syrup. Salt, and then I just need to slowly drizzle in my oil. Each egg yolk should be able to hold about 5 ounces of oil, so it can hold a lot more than we think. Usually my arm gets tired before anything. We're getting there, it's close. Still nice and emulsified. It's all bound together, just not quite as thick as I want it. When I make my aioli, I like to use a neutral cooking oil, like a grapeseed oil, just so that it doesn't really impart any of the flavor. And I feel like it's a waste of like really good olive oil because you really want to taste that flavor. I've got my aioli done. All good to go. We're ready to start dropping some fritters in the fryer. I really feel like a key component to this is making sure that your fritters are the right size. So I feel like, you know, just a spoonful will do. So they can kind of be this funky organic shape, or I can make them like this one, like nice tight circles. Fritters off the grill, I talked about this citrus zest, so lemon zest, parsley, salt, black pepper. Give it a stir. Salt. Toss it all together. We're ready to eat. Give one a little dip. See, nice and thick and coated. Delicious. I had fun making these today. Sit by the fire and enjoy the night. So we've got more great content coming your way soon. Some more hearty, delicious recipes made out at the ranch. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you next time. Take care. Follow us on social media, all the usual suspects, where we share new tips, tricks, and recipes weekly of all my favorite dishes that I love to make at home. And it's time for the BB gun shooting contest. That's a good one.